Next, Christine Walkton is on another garden revival campaign.
Michael Perry is the product development manager who is helping the Busy Lizzie reinvent itself.
So, Michael, what was the actual problem?
There was a problem with downy mildew, which is an airborne disease, and most of the Busy Lizzies of Walleriana origin, so the type that you see here,
So the
common Busy Lizzie that we've known for years and years was absolutely susceptible to it, so they all died out.
And they didn't look very good either, did they, in the process?
No, not at all. So literally, plants melted and they completely were unrecoverable. There's no treatment for it at the moment. What you need to do is grow resistant varieties. That's the only way.
Right, and where has that breeding work taken us?
Well, the breeding work's taken us to what we see here, which is Busy Lizzie Divine, which has completely different genetics to the usual Busy Lizzie, but it's been bred on, so it's bigger, better, more resilient to all sorts of weather conditions, from hot, dry, wet, or cold. It really is almost a super Busy Lizzie. Great alternative.
And is it as good in shade and the sunshine as the traditional Busy Lizzie?
Absolutely, because the brilliant thing about traditional Busy Lizzies is they love shade. And there aren't many plants you can grow in shade, but this loves sun as well as shade. There's all sorts of different innovations apart from that, like perennials you can grow in bedding, different foliage plants, got loads to show you.
This is really bedding heaven. These fantastic trial beds are home to over 500 new types of plants that have been specially cultivated. And I'm about to get a sneak preview of the perfect plants for my revival that we can all use for our own ornamental displays.
We use these trial grounds to grow out all of our product, to check that it's growing true to type, and to look at new varieties against older existing ones to see if they are indeed an improvement.
So what about the traditional plants? Are they still selling, or are you seeing a gradual transition?
They tend to still sell because people recognise the names and they know that they'll work in their gardens, but we really want people to move towards newer varieties that perhaps perform better in gardens or have better disease resistance. So this is a great example of that. This marigold is so much bigger than that traditional one, so you get more plant for your money, stops the weeds coming through, so it's a natural weed suppressant, and also it mulches the ground, so you'll need to water your soil a lot less because you're covering the ground naturally. You haven't got that bare soil that you've got to keep maintaining all the time.
That's truly amazing, and it's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the work they do here. Michael's arranged for me to see how different our familiar favourites are to the next generation of bedding beauties.
So, Michael, we've got our very own mechanised conveyor catwalk, but what are the movers and the shakers?
Well, first of all, we've got some begonias to show you.
The traditional bedding begonia.
Yes, so this is a Begonia semperflorens. It's organdy, but the bloom's never fully open and it's quite stunted and not that weatherproof.
Right, now look at this big
This is Begonia Lotto. Much bigger, more landscape-style growth, big clear flowers, leaves like water lily pads, and perfect for any weather.
So we've got an annual antherinum, a plant that dies down to ground every year.
Absolutely. So traditional snapdragons, lovely, pretty, but don't flower for long. Good alternative is the perennial hardy penstemons, flowering for 5 to 6 months and really, really tough and resilient in the garden.
Coleus, I mean, a plant that many of us has grown as children and as we've got older.
A traditional foliage plant in Victorian times, but now we have perilla, which is very similar, nice colours, but also edible, good for stir-fries or salads.
OK. Ah, now Alstroemeria.
Ah, these are some new kids on the block. This is Alstroemeria Indian Summer, also known as Peruvian lily. Flowers for 5 to 6 months and lovely bronze foliage.
Oh, and gerbras.
Gerbras, this is very exciting. Brand new breeding. These are hardy down to -10. They'll come back every year with these lovely, big, florist quality flowers.
Right. So a revival is really taking place.
Absolutely. Bedding is changing. Your choices are much wider than they used to be.